So hello friends, in today's video we are going to study chapter 1, the French Revolution of History of class 9. So let's get started. The French society during the late 18th century. In 1774, Louis XVI, a 20-year young from the Bourbon dynasty, ascended the throne of France. In 1774, Louis XVI, a 20-year young from Bourbon, became the king of the France, but he was welcomed by empty treasure. There was no treasure. France was reeling under tremendous debt. There was a very high loan on France, which has increased up to 2 billion livres. For meeting these expenses, increase in the tax was inevitable. So, to overcome the loan, the king increases the tax. The French society was divided into 3 states. First, to enjoy all privileges. First state is of clergy, refers to the priests. Second state is of nobility, refers to the nobles and the warriors of the king's family. Third state is of big businessmen, merchants, court officials, peasants, artisans, landless laborers, servants, etc. Some within the third state were rich and some were poor. The burden of financing activities of the state through taxes was borne by the third state alone. When there was increase in tax, there was no effect on the clergy or nobility, but all the burden on increasing the tax was on the third state. The struggle for survival. Population of France grew, and so did the demand for grain. The gap between the rich and poor widened. This led to subsistence crisis. So the population of the France grew, and so did for the demand of the grain also increases. The gap between the rich and poor widened. This led to subsistence crisis. Subsistence crisis is an extreme situation where the basic means of livelihood are endangered. It is an extreme situation where the basic means of livelihood are in danger. The growing middle class. The 18th century witnessed the emergence of middle class, which was educated and believed that no group in society should be privileged by birth. The 18th century witnessed by the emergence of the middle class, which was educated. They was educated and believed that no group in society should be privileged and given all the rights by the birth. These ideas were put forward by philosophers such as Locke, the English philosopher, and Rousseau, French philosopher. The American Constitution and its guarantee of individual rights was an important example of political theories of France. These ideas were discussed intensively in salons and coffee houses and spread among people through books and newspapers. These were even read aloud. The outbreak of the revolution. The French Revolution went through various stages. When Louis XVI became king of the France in 1774, he inherited a treasury which was empty. There was growing discontent within the society of the old regime. In 1789, Louis XVI called the Estates General to pass the proposals for new taxes. The third estate forms National Assembly. The Bastille is formed. Peasant revolts in the countryside. So in 1789, Louis XVI called the Estates General to pass the proposal for the new taxes, but the third estate was in anger due to the pass of the proposals of the new taxes, because there was a heavy burden on them. So they formed a National Assembly. The Bastille is stormed. Peasants revolts in the countryside. In 1791, National Assembly completed the draft of Constitution. It limited the powers of the king and guaranteed basic rights to all human beings. France became constitutional monarchy. In 1792 to 1793, France abolished monarchy and became a republic. National Assembly was replaced by convention. King and queen were executed. 1793 to 94, it is referred as Reign of Terror. Robespierre followed a policy of several control, he executed all the so-called enemies of republic. In 1795, Jacobin Republic overthrown, a directory rules France. Jacobin Republic overthrown, a directory rules France. A new convention appointed a five-man directorate to run the state from 26 October 1795. In 1799, the revolution ends with the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. Women's Revolution. From the very beginning, women were active participants in the events which brought about so many changes in the French society. Most women of the third estate had to work for a living. Their wages were lower than those of men. In order to discuss and voice their interests, women started their own political clubs and newspapers. One of their main demands was that women must enjoy the same political rights as men. Some laws were introduced to improve the position of women. Their struggle still continues in several parts of the world. It was finally in 1946 that women in France won the right to vote. The abolition of slavery. There was a triangular slave trade between Europe, Africa, and Americans. In the 18th century, there was little criticism of slavery in France. No laws were passed against it. It was in 1794 that the convention freed all slaves. But 10 years later, slavery was reintroduced by Napoleon. It was finally in 1848 that slavery was abolished in the French colonies. The Revolution and Everyday Life. The years following 1789 in France saw many changes in the lives of men, women, and children. The revolutionary government took it upon themselves to pass laws that would translate the ideas of liberty and equality into everyday practice. One important law that came into effect was the abolition of censorship. The ideas of liberty and democratic rights were the most important legacy of the French Revolution. These spread from France to the rest of Europe during the 19th century. Napoleon Bonaparte. In 1804, Napoleon crowned himself Emperor of France. He set out to conquer neighboring European countries, dispossessing dynasties and creating kingdoms where he placed members of his family. He saw his role as a modernizer of Europe. He introduced many reforms which had long-lasting effect on Europe. He was finally defeated at Waterloo in 1815. So here our chapter ended. See you in the next chapter. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe. Thank you.